got this radiation very close to your body and very close to your reproductive material. So you can see that exposure varies between 5G and 4G. Turn it onto flight mode, and now you see that those other icons go clear.
Between 0 to 0 and 350 degrees magnetic.
Let's unpack it, let's see what it looks like, and then go through some radiation reduction strategies. Hello, welcome. Today we're going to be having a look at the iPhone 13, the Pro Max in this case, but I don't think that matters much. Great new phone. We've been looking forward to it. I'm using the iPhone 11 Pro Max in the past. Still love that phone, but yeah, the camera features are of course attractive on the newer designs. Now, as technology moves forward, we also get more connectivity options, or not maybe connectivity options. We're moving forward, so 5G is now available and on this phone as well. Now there's a lot of people worried about 5G and the radiation exposure from that. So I thought we'll have a look at this phone. We'll unbox it, have a look what it looks like, and go through some of the strategies on how you can reduce radiation on a phone like this, and also many other ones like it. What's interesting to point out is that there are actually multiple models, as in serial model numbers, of the iPhone 13, depending on where you are in the world. The United States version has considerably more connectivity built in, including some of the very high frequencies, which are sort of referred to as the millimeter waves. Interestingly enough, the phones that are sold in other countries do not have that hardware built in. So if you are outside the United States, congratulations, you don't have the technology on board for it to use those higher frequencies so close to your body. If you are in the United States and you haven't purchased an iPhone 13 yet, perhaps you would like to import it from overseas and get one of those models that doesn't have that hardware in it. All right, so let's move forward. Let's go and have a look. Let's unpack it. Let's see what it looks like, and then go through some radiation reduction strategies. All right, so here it is, the new iPhone in its plastic-free box. What has to be mentioned with this phone is that I was sort of horrified to see that they're still being made in China. Now, many small to medium operators pride themselves on the fact that they're responsibly sourcing the materials and the labor for their materials, yet Apple, arguably one of the most profitable companies in the world, still getting their phones made in China, a country where we know they're engaging into genocide. There's been enough reports. Just have a look on the BBC channel. There's enough coverage on that. So seriously, do the profits, are they that important that can be brushed aside? I think it's a little bit shameful, and I think Apple should work to move their operations to other countries. Anyway, here's that model number as well, the A2643. So that's one of the versions that does not have that higher 5G frequency hardware inside. All right, so here we are. We've got the nice iPhone 13, beautiful box. Now, as we don't have any plastic this year, which is great, we've got the plastic tabs there just to open it with. So let's go ahead and open it. And there it is. Now, I do think the gold looks slightly lighter than in other golds, but very beautiful. The cameras that I'm always, of course, looking at, certainly wider, sticking out. So have to trust that that'll be okay. Beautiful side. Of course, it is high gloss, so you'll see your fingerprints on there straight away. Yeah, pretty looking phone, pretty heavy, weighty. Okay, and there it is. Okay, and there it is. Of course, we've got that higher frequencies that vary depending on the usage of what's going on the screen. Anyway, it just feels like a pretty smooth operation, but sort of always did that with Apples. And so on. So yeah, beautiful phone. It's just a little closer look. Okay, and then in here the usual. So we have our starter cable, charging cable, and our little instructions, and a little opening pin to get into the SIM card compartment. Okay, so nice looking phone. So what should we know about it when it comes to radiation exposure? So as mentioned, some of the iPhone 13s, the ones for the United States, have more hardware in it to connect with the higher frequencies involved in the delivery of 5G. Simply because the United States seems to be the only country that has some of that hardware in place. Lucky for the rest of the world. So other countries that get their iPhone 13s don't have that particular hardware in it. They'll have hardware in there to deal with the lower frequencies that 5G can connect in, typically around the 3.5 gigahertz and somewhere thereabouts, but not the much higher frequencies. In my opinion, that's a bonus. As in, if you're trying to avoid 5G, or if you feel you might use it, if you cannot have the hardware in it that uses those higher frequencies, to me that's only a bonus. So if you're in the United States and you haven't purchased one yet, perhaps you would consider importing one from outside the US. Just make sure that the other bandwidths available still allow you to connect with, of course, your operators. All right, so then some general rules in relation to radiation exposure. Typically everywhere people are avoiding the word radiation. They say energy. Well, that's what radiation is. Radiation is energy. The same radiation you find in your microwave oven that's heating food is the same radiation that your phone produces. The World Health Organization has classified wireless or radio frequency radiation as a possible carcinogen class 2B years ago. That's the same category as exhaust fumes. So you have to ask the question, and Wi-Fi fits in the same category, by the way, right? You just shouldn't have Wi-Fi in your house. You can live perfectly without it. you could probably also live without a cell phone, but it's very convenient, and yeah, for most people that's just not an option. So it is taken seriously. There's thousands of peer-reviewed research studies indicating harm when it comes to radio frequency radiation. So whilst governments may still cling to all the research and say, don't worry about it, it's all perfectly fine, you have to realize that there's a lot of economic ties to the telecommunication industry. A lot of governments make money on licenses of frequencies that are sold. So yeah, a little bit difficult. So you have to sort of do your own research and protect yourself. So what are some of the things that you can do to reduce your radiation exposure? All right, so on this particular phone, given that it's got 5G, you can simply choose to turn that off. Okay, so in the phone, if we go to settings, and then we go to mobile, then we go to mobile data options, you see voice and data. Now in there you see three options. Sadly 3G is not there anymore. The lower the G's, the arguably less harmful it is. Mind you, there are already, or there have been for years, studies about the health effects on the population of 3G and 4G, and those already showed harm. So there's just more out there now with 5G. So it's just getting worse, and 5G is a far more intense technology than 3G and 4G were or are. So anyway, here you have the option to utilize 5G all the time or when it thinks it's appropriate, or you can simply activate 4G only. Now it doesn't use 5G anymore. Okay, now we did some sort of brief testing, and it does seem to not throw out those signals when you choose 4G, as in not when it's connecting, but also no sort of handshake sort of signals, which is great. So that's an easy fix to avoid the whole 5G drama. And when we did some speed tests, the speeds we were getting on 4G are now higher than they've ever been before. I mean, really, why are we bothering with 5G? I think the telecommunication industry sort of wondering, well, hang on, we can get pretty fantastic speeds on the frequencies used for 4G. So why are we bothering with all these hardware upgrades? Anyway, hopefully they'll keep thinking that. So that's good. Other radiation things you should know is the flight mode settings and what that does to your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi. So when we slide to reveal the controls, we have our button there that we can turn this machine onto flight mode with. Now, what you may see there is that you've got those blue icons there, right? Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Now you can turn those off manually, and they go white. What that means is that there's no connection being utilized, but the signal is still there. So white is not good enough if you're trying to reduce radiation. So what you want to do is, it helps a little bit, but especially when you're sleeping, your phone just should be on flight mode. If you're that important that somebody needs to contact you in the middle of the night, put your phone in the lounge room, turn the volume up, and you'll hear it. You just have to get out of bed and get it. But for all those nights that it would be on your bedside table for no good reason, you're saving yourself a lot of radiation exposure, which, your body is meant to rest and regenerate at night. It's the most important time for the body. And you can't expect it to do so optimally with constant irritation from all these signals of energy that the body doesn't understand because it's man-made. So what you should be doing is that you turn it onto flight mode, and now you see that those other icons go clear. Now your phone doesn't throw anything out. Mind you, your phone does learn. So if you've been on an airplane and they have in-flight entertainment for which you use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, they'll instruct you to put your phone onto flight mode and then turn Wi-Fi and Bluetooth back on, which you can. Now, if you've done this once, your phone thinks that's what you prefer to do every single time. So now if you turn your phone back on and then later you engage flight mode again, you see that it's now doing different things than just going blank. So you gotta keep an eye on that. If you turn it to flight mode, that does indeed mean that those icons go dead. Okay, now you see if I turn Wi-Fi off, that went blank, and it now does not allow me to go to blank for the Bluetooth connection. In that case, go to settings and just find Bluetooth there. You see it says not connected, and there you can turn Bluetooth off. And now if we look at our settings, we see that they've gone blank. Okay, so this is what the situation your phone should be in when you're ready to retire, when you're ready to sleep. A lot of people use their phone now as their alarm clock. That's fine. But yeah, make sure it's on flight mode and that Bluetooth and Wi-Fi is off. Some other things you can do to reduce radiation exposure is to not use Wi-Fi. All right, radio frequency radiation has been linked to triggering the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight and flight response. So this raises your blood pressure, it slows down your digestion. That's what the sympathetic nervous system does. So just to get ready for that pending emergency, the tiger that's lurking around the camp or something. But there's no tiger in your house. There's just ongoing Wi-Fi just constantly triggering this. In the daytime that's not good, but at nighttime it's even worse. So with running some cables around the house, you can move away from Wi-Fi. It's really not that difficult. You can get a switch, so you can have multiple cables going in different directions. You're not limited to the 4 ports that are on the back of your router. You can make more sort of junction points with a thing called a switch. Anyway, when it comes to your devices, you can make those work on cables as well. They actually work faster, and of course it's more secure as well. So for that you need an adapter, and so these are 2 examples of those. These are Lightning to LAN adapters. One is where you can just plug the cable in, nice and small. This one you can plug the cable in and you can charge at the same time, so it's very very convenient. All right, so that's a nice way to reduce radiation exposure, fantastic. Then what about when you're on a call? All right, so basically distance is your friend. So I would encourage you to use speakerphone basically all the time, right? If you met somebody, a friend of yours on the bus, well, you wouldn't start whispering in each other's ear, you just have a conversation, right? I mean, how important are we, right? So just put on speakerphone, turn the volume down a bit and just speak to your phone from a bit of a distance. That is a massive improvement to the amount of radiation you would get compared to gluing it against your head. So speakerphone is best. Better still if you can put it on the table in front of you and speak to it, not even hold it, because of course if you are holding the phone, your body's still taking on those frequencies, but even more so because you're holding it. All right. Then there are some options in terms of radiation reduction sort of accessories. Now, first of all, there's lots of rubbish available. Stickers you can buy, magnets you can stick on, and pretty pictures and wonderful promises of reduction of radiation, but when you take instrumentation out, you don't actually see any difference. In my experience, there is no such thing as harmonizing, neutralizing, or balancing radiation. Anyway, so what options are available? There are, of course, earplugs, wired earplugs that you can put in. Now, if they have a metal electrical cable running from your phone to the earbud, it really doesn't help you that much. The radiation just runs up the cable. So there are earbuds you can have that have the speaker, let's say, on your chest, and then from there it goes into like a tube, like a stethoscope really, but smaller. They're typically referred to as air tubes. They do work because the radiation stops as far as the electrical cables go, and then beyond it doesn't go through those air tubes. Sounds pretty good. I've had some in the past that just didn't last very long in my opinion, so I've sort of moved away from that. Now, GeoVital, we've had people ask us, clients of ours, patients of ours, to come up with a solution for cell phones. So years ago, because people were saying, I can't make a call anymore without getting a headache, we started experimenting a little bit, and we came up with a shielding pouch. So in a shielding pouch, there are 2 layers of shielded fabric on the inside of the pouch. This is a place where you can store business cards or those sorts of things. The outer pocket does not have shielding on it, not on this side, right? But of course it's backed by this side of the pouch, which has 2 layers. So when you stick a phone in this pocket here, you've got 2 layers of shielded fabric on one side of your phone. All right, so if you've got the phone, stick it in the pouch, and this is a bit of a nice tight fit. This is a 13 Pro Max. It's in a large pouch, but there is no cover, no casing on this phone. It now fits in a large, nice and snug, but if you put any sort of case in it, you'll have to go bigger. Large will be too small. All right, so now during a call, it makes sense. You want to reduce the radiation. That's when the radiation is also the strongest. So when you receive a call, you would take it out of your pouch, you would answer it, then you can slide it back in the pouch with the speaker towards the shielded fabric, and now you can make a call. The sound will still go through, but you got 2 layers of shielded fabric between you and the phone.
Aerodrome weather. Wind 340 degrees, magnetic 11 knots. QNH 1020 hectopascals. Temperature 18. Cloud clear below 2,000 feet. Visibility 10 kilometers. Viewpoint 8. Humidity.
Okay, so that was on 4G. Okay, 4G. Now I'm going to change the settings. One-handed operation to 5G. I'm going to make that call again. It's the aviation weather report at an airport. It's automated, so they always pick up. Oh, they're engaged. Give that a minute.
Hectopascals. Temperature 18. Cloud clear below 2,000 feet. Visibility 10 kilometers. Viewpoint 8. Humidity 51%. Rainfall last 10 minutes, nil. Marathon, AWS aerodrome weather. Wind 330 degrees, magnetic 10 knots. QNH 1020 hectopascals. Temperature 18. Cloud clear below 2,000 feet. Visibility 10 kilometers.
Okay, so of course this depends a little bit on where you are in relation to the tower. How hard does the phone need to work? There's quite a lot of unexpected variables in there, but you can see that exposure varies between 5G and 4G. It's sending in the same spot, same distance from the tower. Still, of course, it jumps all over the place, but you can sort of see that on 5G those numbers were significantly higher. All right. Now I'm going to do a little extra experiment. I have with me, sorry, this thing's making a lot of noise. I have with me a shielding pouch. And this has shielded fabric on the inside. And it has an outer pocket which is not shielded, as in that is normal fabric. So then I've got twice the amount of fabric, shielding fabric, on one side of that outer pocket, let's say. So I'm now going to try and do the same experiment. I'm going to make the call Let me check my settings. We are on 4G only. So now I'm going to make a call to the weather service. I'll keep it on speakerphone just for entertainment value. Slide it in the pouch.
QNH1020 hectopascals. Temperature 18. Cloud clear below 2000 feet. Visibility 10 kilometers. Dew point 8. Humidity 52%. Rainfall last 10 minutes nil. Marathon AWS aerodrome weather. Wind very
Alright, so considerably less than what it was before, right?
magnetic 1.
So hanging up. Going back to 5G. Sorry, it's a little difficult doing this on your own. Come on. Yep, 5G selected. Now I'm going to do the same thing. Hope they're answering. Okay, calling. Speakerphone. They're still engaged from my last call. Okay, so just showing you 5G still selected. And we have a 5G signal. Ringing, speaker. I must be overburdening them. Let's ring another one. Let's ring Avalon.
Rainfall last 10 minutes.
Back in the pocket. So now it's on 5G.
Variable between 0 to 0 and 350 degrees magnetic 11 knots. QNH 1020 hectopascals. Temperature 19. Cloud clear below 2000 feet. Visibility 10
Okay, so significantly lower than what it was, right? Speakerphone's always better. Right, and phones do also make a magnetic field. You can't shield against those. But if you're going to put this thing on your head, then at least put this in the middle. All right, so that's one way to do it. If you think that sticking it in the pouch is a little bit arduous, well then just, or you can't remember how to position it, well, here's the phone, there's a speaker, here's your pouch, and now put it against your head. Right? The pouch is still in the middle, and the same job is being done. So during a call, that makes a lot of sense. When you are not on a call, this is where a lot of people sort of underestimate what you might still be exposed to. You should not have a phone in your in the pockets of your pants or in your handbag and carry it on your waist the whole time. You've got this radiation very close to your body and very close to your reproductive material. For men, this is important because sperm cells take 4 months to mature, to be grown, let's say. Where girls are born with all genetic material on board, basically from birth. So they're not going to get any more eggs. What they've got is what they've got. And so the more you damage it, doesn't repair. That's what it is. And again, there's research showing that radio frequency radiation is a problem in that regard. So you should not have this in your pocket, and you should not have it in your handbag just the way it is. If you have the shielding pouch, again, what you could do, or what you should do, is you just slide it into the pouch where it normally sits. Now, again, you've got the 2 layers of shielded fabric on one side of your phone. Now, if you have to put it into your pocket, again, remember, it makes a magnetic field. You can't shield against that. But if you're going to stick it in your pocket anyway, then at least with this pouch in the in between, when you position it in your pocket with the shielded fabric in between, you got a barrier against that radio frequency radiation, helping you to reduce that exposure. Same thing with a handbag. You can position it in a handbag against the wall of the handbag, positioned in such a manner that you've got that barrier between you and the phone. All right, so that sums up, I think, what I can quickly tell you about radiation exposure and reduction. So it's a pretty looking phone, the iPhone 13. I think it looks gorgeous. You have played a little bit with the cameras on board. I really appreciate the ×3 lens now instead of the ×2 lens. That was a lovely improvement. There's image stabilization, which I'm looking forward to try out. And yeah, anyway, hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe, hit the notification button as well, and while you're at it, why don't you give this video a little like. Check out our channel for more information about radiation, and we also have consultants available that can help you with your home and investigate especially the sleeping environment, which is so important. All right, thank you. See you next time.